Testing. Okay, so here's something else that came to my mind. Okay, um, we had a bit of a short session, so I wanted to come back here and talk about something else. And the more important information, let's say, for information businesses, uh, SaaS products, SaaS businesses, or any sort of consulting business. Um, so, SaaS consulting, information, all of these are in the perfect spot uh, in terms of time to um, take advantage of this opportunity. All right, you have to take advantage of this new opportunity that's coming because of artificial intelligence. All right, markets will be saturated. The first person's in will be the most to profit, right? Because let's face it, advertising is going to get expensive because artificial intelligence will be doing better than you. It'll be, software will be making better ads than you'll be able to make, and that will be a problem. So, what do you do when software is making as good as advertising as good as you can, right? What do you do then? And to actually get to a proper customer, get your 3%, get your conversion rate, you're going to have to spend more and more, right? It will be saturated. What do you do when it's so expensive to get to your customer? You stop paying. You stop paying, right? Once artificial intelligence really starts to put its foot in the door and starts making things uncomfortable in whatever industry you're in, anyone who's still spending a lot of money on ads will suffer, and anyone who doesn't have an ad budget will win, right? So that's the solution, right? That's the answer to your problem. What do you do when advertising gets too expensive? You don't spend any money, right? Simple as. You don't spend any money. Now, how do you do that? How do you get to the point where you're not spending any money, but you're still getting to your customers? You understand? Okay. If you're new here, I'm going to tell you, but if you've been watching the lives, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Okay? If you've been watching the lives, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but here it is. You get on live. You start live streaming. That's the solution. That's your solution to your big problem. Right? You go right to consumer. You're essentially knocking on their virtual doors. I have your solution. Don't do ads. Right? Don't do any of that. Stop doing ads. In fact, if you're a SaaS business, if you're an info business, if you're a consultancy, stop right now and get on live. Start live streaming. As simple as. That's the miracle solution. There's nothing else to it. You get on live, you build a genuine connection with your audience, you provide them with real value, and you use the old ways to get to them, right? You you use ways to capture their attention. You don't do any TikTok dances, right? We're focusing on utility. What is useful, right? And when you target, the way your titles are, the kind of shorts you make, when those are incredibly targeted and quite frankly free to make, right? All it takes is your time. When you get enough traction by using the right kind of audience probing and attention hacking, you will see results. Get to your audience organically, and it's much more useful, right? You don't. And here's the thing: if anyone who's watching your content and they're not a customer, it's not going to cost you anything, right? If you're spending a bunch of money on ads and someone watches your ad, but they have no idea what the hell you're talking about, they're not looking for a solution or a software, they're not looking for consulting in whatever you want to consult in, it's a waste of your money. When they watch that ad and maybe they even click, you're wasting money. And sooner or later, this is going to be a massive bubble. And you're going to suffer for it. And you're going to spend a lot of money. And the people who are getting on live streams, who are not wasting their money on advertising, they will be, what's the word? Rewarded. They will be rewarded. So all it takes is your time and effort, right? Save your money. Use it to invest further into your product, into your solution, into your software. Make your product better. Spend more money on your product, right? Money is a resource. You want to spend it on your product. Attention, you cannot buy. As much as you want, it's not something you buy, right? Attention is something you create. And since we live in this content creation world, learning how to access people's attention, access the certain parts of their brain that makes them attentive, that causes certain musculature to react. That's the kind of thing that you want to be looking for. That's the kind of solution you want when it comes to attention. You don't want to throw money at the problem and hope something sticks. That is a poor solution to an incredibly real problem, especially nowadays, right? Especially nowadays, where everything is kind of based around retention, right? You've got people in the market, in all forms of content creation right now that are so obsessed with retention metrics that it's impossible to look off the screen, even if you want to. You don't want to look away, right? As much as you want to. It's brain rot. It's mindless content, right? You're not learning anything, right? Like, I really enjoy Mr. Beast's video, but I get nothing out of it. I get nothing out of a Mr. Beast video except for perhaps a little bit of dopamine, hearing all those big monetary numbers. But he gets attention, so we like Mr. Beast, right? But you don't want to throw Lamborghinis out of the sky. You don't want to, do anything like that. You don't want to blow up anything for a video. You don't want to do any of that. You don't want to do a real life Hunger Games. You want to be useful to people, right? You're a business owner, right? And the thing that's stopping you right now is you think that there is some sort of difference between you and Mr. Beast. There isn't, right? There isn't. Only thing is, he has to cast a wider net, right? For him, it's content. It's just pure entertainment. So that's what he does. That's what he does. He's casting a wide net. You, as a business owner, someone who has a product that they want to sell, that's not just a chocolate bar or a t-shirt. You are providing real utility, real value to people who have a problem and need a solution ASAP, right? So the first thing you need to do is be problem aware, right? And you need, as a founder, you need to be, as a CEO, you need to be aware of exactly what your problem is. What are you solving? And you need to understand this at every single level. You need to be aware of every single talking point, every single pain that you're alleviating, right? Any single, like the pain pleasure um, um, thing when it comes to sales, right? What pleasure are they getting out of this solution? What pain are you taking them away from? Right? This is all very important stuff. And you don't need a sales team. You don't need to hire anyone, right? None of that is necessary. That's right. You don't need sales guys. You, as a business owner, as someone who has a SaaS product, as a consultant, as an info business, you need to just click the live button. All right, and that's what I'm teaching here. I'm teaching you to go from 0 to 1. And if you're already someone with a 1, as in you already have an idea, a business, a product that is of value, you get from 1 to 1 plus n. Right? That's the point of these lives, right? So you can come on, you could have like an idea for a product, and you could start this, and you will still benefit, right? The beautiful thing about live streaming is that it is instant feedback. It is an instant feedback mechanism, and when you have instant feedback, you evolve faster than your competition. Right? The beautiful thing is you just click live, you sit in front of the camera, you have a mic, or you don't. You can use your phone, right? Just get on live, start talking about your product, right? And when you listen to yourself, right, you get immediate feedback from yourself, right? There's nothing like putting your idea out in front of the world and realizing everything that's wrong with it as soon as you've said it, right? I used to do like a bit of stand-up comedy, right? And I've got the perfect story. When you're doing stand-up comedy, you can spend weeks trying to perfect a joke. You can spend weeks trying to perfect a joke, and in your mind, you come up with some sort of formula, like, okay, this is humor. This will make people laugh. And then you get on stage in front of 50 people, 100 people, and I did this in front of 200 people, right? I got on stage in front of 200 people, and I had a joke I had been working on for weeks. And I said it with amazing confidence and the exact delivery that I practiced, and dead silence. Dead silence, right? So immediate feedback. And not only did the lack of laughing inform me, but in fact, while I was saying it, I'm like, this is not funny, but I have to finish this anyway. Right? And that's what you want to do. You don't want to be afraid of getting on stage and telling that joke. You want to get on stage and do that joke, and you want to come again, and you want to improve that joke, or maybe dump that joke. Right? And that's what live streaming gives you. It gives you an instant and constant feedback mechanism. When you say words out of your mouth and you listen to them later when you review your live, your product's going to get better. Right? And as your product gets better, your ability to describe the problem and how your solution is really valuable gets better. All right, so today we are on day 18, second live of the day. Day 18, second live of the day. And if you go to watch the first one, day 1, right, it was just yapping, essentially. There's no it was just a stream of consciousness. I had some ideas about what I'm interested in, what I thought was a problem, and that's now developed into a series of reviews and lives, and review and live and review and live. Now I'm at a point where I really understand to a very, very technical extent what the problem is, and how well I know the problem has gone up exponentially. And so I'm able to recognize a real problem and offer a real solution, right? Starting from zero. So this is the 0 to 1, right? This is evidence of 0 to 1, right? And this is my case study. You go from 0 to 1. You have no idea, right? You just think of something that you are interested in, that you feel there is value. And I can tell you quite frankly, there have been so many different iterations behind the scenes because of my lives that I've gone through, and the product that I'm actually working on has changed so many times, to the point where now on I think it was day 16 or day 15, where I finally finalized my product because I actually recognized a real issue, right? And the second I recognized it, everything came easy. And my product started to form itself. And that was all possible because I was doing this, right? So this is essentially a roadmap, right? This is what I'm creating. And the first part of the roadmap is complete. That's the first half, 0 to 1. This is evidence, right? So you, as someone who's not a business person, someone who's not in any industry that they're interested in, this is the roadmap. It took me 2 weeks, right? And I've got an incredible understanding of exactly what I'm doing now, right? And it took me 2 weeks, and it can take you much less, because I had no idea what I was doing. And slowly but surely I was able to form an idea, and now I have a roadmap on how to get there. You go on the lives, you review your content, you ask yourself again and again, you write down your ideas. Whatever you say in the live, you write down, right? Anything of interest, you write down. And anything you haven't said, you write down, right? And then you're going to hit a barrier, right? You're going to go down like a path. You're going to go down a path, and suddenly you cannot go further, right? Essentially, as a business owner, you are going into the void, right? You're creating a new market. Because if you're just joining an already existing market, you're doing something wrong, right? The best businesses, I think it was Peter Thiel. The best businesses are 0 to 1, right? And I'm creating a roadmap of 0 to 1. So the roadmap is, right, in its most basic form. You begin, you create, using instant and constant feedback loops, right? You expand your ideas, you go down paths, right? Because you're starting from zero, so you have no idea. You're in the wilderness in the dark. That's where you are. That's what you should imagine, right? And you walk down a direction, and then you see a bear, and you can't go any further, right? You see a wall, you see a bridge, you see a waterfall that you cannot cross, right? And then you keep going down different ideas, right? These different directions you're going are different ideas, right? And you keep formulating upon these ideas, and you begin to see a gap, right? You begin to see a tunnel, right? It's almost like a line just appears in front of you, right? You have to go through the process, though, right? You have to follow every single idea that comes intentionally, right? It's intentional thinking, it's reviewing, it's feedback, it's all of these things combined, right? And eventually what you see is that you find yourself gravitating towards a specific topic. And when you find your kind of problem area, not even the problem itself, the area where the problem may be, even then, right? Let's say you're in the wilderness, right? You found the area and you're looking for food, right? Am I going the right way? Can I smell the scent of water, right? And you go look in one way and it might not be there, right? and you explore that problem entirely until you find a gap in the market, right? And when you find a gap in the market, you develop an argument, right? You develop an argument because you see a problem, and because you've been doing so much research, you've been doing so much reviewing, you develop an understanding of whatever industry that you are interested in. And once you develop an understanding of that, things begin to become clear as to where a solution may be. And then that argument becomes the foundation to whatever solution you will build. And starting from zero, not having a roadmap, I was able to do it in about 16 days. Okay, so I have my thesis now, I have my argument, and currently we are working on the 1 to 1 plus n. Now that you have your solution, how do you validate it and scale to market? Right? And that's what we're working on. Right? And to put it in simple terms, the solution lies within extremely targeted copywriting, and writing out exactly who you're talking to, right? Knowing exactly what their problem is, right? Knowing your problem inside out, to the point where when you talk about it, the person who is affected by the problem will want to listen, right? It's like if I told you, like, think about it like this. This is the best example that I have, right? If someone had a cold and aspirin didn't exist, and I created the world's first aspirin, right? And I said, is having a cold, a fever, a headache, all those different things, are those symptoms, stopping you from doing your day to day? Take an aspirin. You'll lose the headache. The symptoms will go away. You'll still be sick, but you'll be able to function normally. Your fever will drop, and you will recover much faster. Someone who has dealt with a fever before will be immediately hooked, right? You have to think about your problem as a fever and your solution as an aspirin, right? There are problems in every single industry everywhere, right? You just have to be able to recognize a real problem and formulate a real solution, right? And you can do all of this with live streaming without an ad budget. You can do all of this without a budget for advertising. And that's all thanks to artificial intelligence. It's all thanks to artificial intelligence, because without it, we would not have an upcoming drastic market change leading to a completely saturated advertising space. Everyone's going to be getting rid of they're going to be streamlining their sales team, right? They're going to be more reluctant to hire people to do jobs that artificial intelligence can do for them, right? You want to write 100 emails? Are you going to hire someone to write those emails, or are you going to, ChatGPT it? There's already so many softwares out there that can that can probably kill half of all jobs right now as they exist, right? So jobs right now currently are a bubble. And if that worries you, you need to start doing the 0 to 1 process, right? You need to be live streaming and you need to make that happen. And the most it'll take you is 2 weeks, because that's what it took me, just over 2 weeks. And in the beginning, I was just rambling, right? I had no idea what I was even doing. So you can do it much faster than 2 weeks. It took me 16 days. It was about 2 weeks, right? You can go from 0 to 1 in 2 weeks. And we're going to discover how long it takes to get from 1 to 1 plus n. Right? So at this point, I have a solution. We've been at it for 2 days, right? And we have 82 more days to hammer in. And I think, at the rate that we're going, I think we're going to have something promising by day 60. I think day 60 is when I think day 60 is going to be a promising time. So you want to stick around for day 60, right? I had a banner this whole time. I forgot to put it up, right? This is something that you want to really think about. If you're someone who's worried about AI taking your job and making you redundant, get from 0 to 1. And if you're a SaaS business, if you're an info business, if you're a consultancy, get on live right now. We are going to validate the crap out of this. Okay? So stick around for approximately day 60. That's my, like 2 months in, I think we're going to see some real changes. We're going to see some real, and I think by then, because artificial intelligence is kind of moving so fast, we're going to have a real kind of change in view as well. So before the rest of the world starts getting afraid of it, be afraid now. And recognize it as a good thing, as an emerging market, right? This is a good thing. This is an opportunity to have a 0 ad budget, right? No ad budget. You don't want to be that the loser that spends money on ads. Let's be honest. You don't want to be spending on ads when no one is spending on ads, or when ads are too expensive. And that's going to happen because of artificial intelligence, because everybody's going to have really good ads, because everybody's making ads using AI. And that stuff's just going to go to the person with the most expensive AI, right? So if you're just a regular company, it's going to be tough to compete, because you're just going to have to spend more money and throw more money at the problem. And your conversion rates are going to suck. So get in early on the problem and convert to a 0 ad budget. Convert to a 0 ad budget. Right? Start doing this. Start doing this. And by the time that you're at a good space where you're comfortable being on camera, when you're able to comfortably understand every single part of your problem and your solution, you can tell people the what on the live, and the solution part comes from when they pay for the solution, right? And you want to provide real value in the lives as well, right? So right now, I'm not like gatekeeping the fact that live streaming is like this ultimate tool, right? You can still go on a live stream and figure it out yourself. I'm creating and have half created a solution to attention hacking on live streaming. I'm creating a roadmap to the most streamlined way of getting from 1 to 1 plus n, right? Like this entire process is a 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. We take you from 0 to 1, from nothing to something, and then we go from 1 to 1 plus n, right? We go from something to something scaled. You bring it to market, you sell the solution, you sell the how with zero ad budget, and you're extremely streamlined. Not only that, by being kind of ever present in front of your audience, you are constantly building their trust. You're building trust with the consumers. And money can't buy that. Money cannot buy trust with your consumer. I'm going to put that in there. Money can't buy customer trust, right? You think about all these like large businesses, a lot of them kind of operate on goodwill. You know, every big business knows every other big business. You know, they have their numbers. You know, it's not just like a click this and buy my product, right? They know who they're doing businesses with. They have a certain level of trust. They know they're being provided real value. They know they're being provided real value, and they're getting exactly what they paid for, right? There's a level of transparency that a lot of online business does not afford you, because you're so separated from your customer, right? But by being on live streaming all the time, that separation thins, right? And you begin to have a customer relationship with zero money, right? It's just you in front of the camera, and you are essentially selling your solution. You are telling people that you are someone who is aware of their problem, and you break down in all the ways that they are affected, and how your solution is a mechanism to them, for them to arrive at a happier place, right? To make them more lean and efficient, to make their business a little better, to make their lives a little better, whether you're selling SaaS, info, or consultancy, right? And this is true in every industry. Whatever industry you are doing, SaaS, info, or what do you call it? I keep forgetting that last one. SaaS, info, consultancy. I need an acronym for that. SaaS, info, consultancy. SIC, sure. SIC, SaaS, info, consultancy. I'm not going to forget that, right? So that's the method. No ad budgets. No ad budget. And it's really easy. It's really easy. And you just go live, right? And initially there's a slow uptick, right? And then all of a sudden you find a golden nugget, right? And my goal is to create the most low effort version of this, right? It has to be in its most easiest form. Otherwise, it's too complicated and it's too expensive. So you want to make it as cheap as possible. So I'm seeing how many views I can actually get, how much attention I can actually gather, using the cheapest ways. You know, written communication, utility in the form of argument, right? Am I providing a good enough argument for you to pay attention? Am I writing the best title I can to get your attention? Am I using the correct words to get your attention? And am I spending as less time as I can on anything that isn't me being live? to gain attention and to get people through the door to where they become problem aware and trust me as an authority to get them from problem to solution. Right? So that's the process. And you can go ahead and try yourself, but currently there is a roadmap underway that will get from 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. And that's going to be the fastest and cheapest and most lean and effective way for you to get from 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. Okay? 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. Okay? Alright. That's a lot of talking, a lot of yapping, so I think we made some good points there. And I've got some shit to do. I've got some research to do. I've got some writing to do. And I did 2 lives today because I just felt motivated and I wanted to get more information out there. I wanted to be online for longer. I even made the place I am turn their cooling up, like air conditioning up, so that my laptop didn't overheat. So, you know, you gotta figure this stuff out. You know, I'm in Dubai, so it gets quite hot. And, you know, eventually when we reach a certain threshold, I'm gonna be doing a lot more longer lives, right? And that's the goal, right? You have a product, you're working on a product. The most important part is then getting a customer. And you want to work on your product and get customers at the same time, and that's what live streaming affords you, right? And this is why it's so useful for information businesses, consultancy businesses, and SaaS businesses, because you can quite literally sit at your computer, work on your problem, and once you follow the roadmap up to a certain level of viewership, you get a constant feedback. Constant, providing utility, getting feedback, reviewing, all of that. It's really good for your product. Live streaming is good for your product. You get close to the customer, and you improve your product. And you could sit and do your work for 12 hours a day, right? You could turn your entire workday into just you live streaming. And you keep coming on here. You keep coming on here. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing 100 days. It's an experiment. And I'm going to keep coming on live. And eventually you're going to see some longer lives. So stick around. Because eventually we're going to see a productized version of this. Right? And of course, there is a part that's hidden behind a paywall, but you're going to get a lot of value from just the stuff that we work on, right? You're going to get a lot of value from just the stuff that we work on, because I'm going to be talking about it in incredible detail, right? It's going to be a lot of work, and we're going to be doing a lot of research, a lot of creation, and if you want, you can go behind the paywall as someone who wants to take on this and thrive in the post AI world. And all of that information and more, and strategies on the most leanest and efficient way to get your live streaming from 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. And yeah. Eventually, we'll be looking through the product, and we're going to be teaching you exactly how to go live, right? So that's my thing. I want you to go live, and I don't want you to do TikTok dances. Like, content creation is no joke, right? This is utility. we're creating real use. So, we're not just doing this for useless attention. We want people who are genuinely affected by a problem, and that problem we are solving. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Spending a lot of time looking at like the biology of attention. I think there's some insights to gain from biological attention hacking, right? Like I'm reading books and I'm reading a lot of interesting things about how to gauge psychologically what are the best metrics for gaining attention, what are the best um, avenues. You know, um, how much of the pain and pleasure principle, you know, pleasure and pain, how much of what to do. I've learned that um, from pain and pleasure, pain is a stronger force, a stronger driving force. You can't neglect the positive, right? So I'm doing a mix of mostly kind of negative, agitating pain, but also reminding people that there is a plus to this. There is a pleasure that you gain out of this, right? You're not just escaping pain, right? And you don't want to miss out on either one, right? You don't want to miss out on either one. So there's a kind of method, right? And that's its most basic form. That's step one, right? So I'm giving you guys the sauce right now. This is the sauce. This is a very important part of the solution. But this is just step one. There's a lot of steps to this, right? Um, you know, and a lot of it has to do with audience probing, right? Because we're not casting wide nets. We're not spending any money on advertising. The goal is to get people's attention without throwing money at them, right? Throw money at them and say, look at what I'm trying to do, right? If you can capture people's attention through your product, that means you have a really good product, and you are very problem aware, and you have been able to communicate well the problem and how your solution is the best solution, right? And that's the most important part of it. If you are a SaaS, info business, consultancy, getting on live and improving your product is going to be one of the most important things you do, because you're going to go direct to market, right? You're not going to have to spend money on what kind of ads work well and what don't. You don't have to split test. You just get online, you start talking. And as you talk, your product will evolve. And that's what you want it to do. You don't want to be emotionally attached to a product. You want to go as close as you can to the most effective solution, right? And it's the most effective solution that people will respond to. So leave emotions at the door, right? And get solving. So remember the mantra: 0 to 1 to 1 plus n. That's what we're doing. And no money on ads. We never want to spend money on ads. They're too expensive, and they're for Google and Apple, right? You don't want to spend money on ads. You never want to spend money on ads anymore. It's just going to get more expensive. And you're going to laugh at people who are spending money on ads and complaining about how expensive it is because artificial intelligence has saturated the advertising space. That was a lot of words. That just means I'm really starting to understand what the hell I'm talking about, I'm really starting to get it. And that means I can really explain it to you, right? And that's what we're trying to teach here. Okay. We've been online for about 46 minutes. This has been fun. I hope you got some value out of this. And yeah, I'm gonna come off. I've got some shit to do. So be good, do good things, and subscribe, and good things happen.